Assalamu alaikum students. कैसे हैं? I'm your instructor Muzaffar Saeed and today we are going to continue our topic of conjunctions. We have discussed some of them in the previous lecture and we will discuss some more combinations in this lecture. So let's go to the lightboard and see what we have for you. Ladies students, we are at the lightboard and as discussed in the intro, today we are yet again discussing conjunctions. We have already discussed some correlative conjunctions in our last lecture and in this lecture we shall be discussing some more combinations of conjunctions. The very first one is as. As will always be followed by as, but unlike so as, as is used for affirmation, while so as discussed previously, it is used for negation. For example, if I had to say he is as intelligent as his brother, that is your option alpha, and beta is he is so intelligent as his brother. Now here we shall choose option alpha. Why? Because we are affirming. We are saying that he is as intelligent. उतना ही ज़्यादा ज़हीन है जितना उसका भाई था. And on the other hand, if I had to say he is not as intelligent as his brother, and option B is he is not so intelligent as his brother. So here we are actually negating a claim. That is why our right combination will be not as. Our correct combination will be so as. So that is the difference. Then we have some more combinations. Hardly, barely, scarcely. All these words are followed by when and not than. Now this is important. If I say option alpha, he had hardly gone out of the room when it started raining. And on the other hand, if I say He had hardly gone out of the room then it started to rain or started raining. Both can be used. Here you can see that apparently we do not feel that much difference. हमें बिल्कुल लगता है कि ठीक ही है, दोनों ही एक ही मतलब है. बट याद रखें हार्डली, बेयरली, स्कार्सली के साथ क्या आएगा? विल यूज व्हेन. प्लस we can also use before. Before भी हम इसके साथ use कर सकते हैं. Like this sentence can also be written as out of the room before it started raining. So when or before both will be correct. But we cannot use then nor can we use than. Both these conjunctions will be considered incorrect. Now let's have another example, another combination. No sooner will be followed by than. And one more important thing, if no sooner as used at the start of the sentence, it will be followed by inversion. Why? Because no sooner will also be treated as quasi-negative adverb. And we are obviously dead sure about hardly, barely, scarcely. Not only, we already know that these are quasi-negative adverb. So this rule will also be applicable to hardly, barely, scarcely or any other quasi-negative adverb. For example, no sooner did he quit the business started flourishing. That is your option alpha. Beta is no sooner he quit than the business started flourishing. Charlie no sooner did he quit then the business started flourishing. And last one, no sooner did he quit when the business started flourishing. Now, there are multiple errors in these four sentences. Here, we have used did after no sooner. We have used inversion actually, but after quit, there is no conjunction. So this option cannot be considered the correct option. In the same way, here we have not used inversion. So that question, that MCQ or that option will be excluded. No sooner did he quit than the business started flourishing. Yes, that is the right option because we have used inversion as well as the correct conjunction for no sooner. And no sooner did he quit, here the problem is with when. So these three options will be excluded and will mark C as our right option because here we have used the right conjunction as well as no sooner is followed by inversion. कुछ और combinations पे चलते हैं इसके बाद. So let's have some more combinations. This one is very interesting and you often get confused and you fail often to locate the error while using this particular combination. That is nothing and but. Now what you normally do is you use except, which is totally incorrect. Let me give you an example to elaborate what I want to say. Option alpha is I want nothing except peace of mind. Now this sentence will look completely perfect to you and this is why I said that you often fail to locate the error because आप normally nothing के बाद आप except का मतलब ले रहे होते हो सिवाय and you feel it is perfectly okay to say I want nothing except peace of mind कि मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए सिवाय ज़हनी सुकून के. आपने ये नहीं समझना कि मैं अपने रिश्तेदारों को मैसेज दे रहा हूँ, ठीक है, एक बात कर रहा हूँ ऐसे ही. I want nothing but peace of mind. Got it? What will be the right option? That is beta. Now I explain the logic behind it. Why can't we use except and why we should only use but? देखिए except actually presents a choice. सिवाय बहुत सारी चीज़ों में से एक कोई चीज़ exclusion के लिए है ना, it's present a choice. जब वो कह रहे हैं कि I have nothing, तो choice क्या होगी उसके पास? ठीक है, मेरे पास है ही कुछ नहीं, उसमें से सिवाय क्या निकलेगा, एक्सक्लूड क्या करूँगा मैं, ठीक है। इट इज़ बेसिकली एक्सेप्ट तो यही है ना कि आपने किसी चीज़ को क्या करना है, एक्सक्लूड करना है, ठीक है, कि बाकी ये ऑप्शंस ठीक है, इसको क्या करो, एक्सक्लूड कर दो। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई कैन डू एनीथिंग एक्सेप्ट लाइंग, कि मैं सब कुछ कर सकता हूँ लेकिन झूठ नहीं बोल सकता, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पर मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, उस झूठ को, बाकी सारी मतलब चीज़ें मेरे पास हैं बट एक चीज़ मेरे पास अवेलेबल नहीं है, तो फिर तो चलो एक्सेप्ट समझ में आता है, बट हियर आई एम ऑलरेडी टेलिंग यू दैट आई हैव नथिंग, आई वांट नथिंग, तो फिर नथिंग में से एक्सक्लूजन तो मुमकिन ही नहीं है। दैट इज वाई, इधर मैं लिख भी देता हूं, इट इज यूज्ड फॉर exclusion. That is why we use but with nothing and not except. On the other hand, anything or everything, they'll be followed by except. Now here it looks absolutely perfect because here you are giving an option. How? Look, I have everything except some layer, कि मेरे पास सब कुछ है. Now you can understand the difference why we cannot use except with nothing, because here you can use, you are saying I have everything, मेरे पास सब कुछ है, and you are excluding one thing except some layer, सिवाय थोड़ी फुर्सत के. And on the other hand, I have everything than some layer, or even but some layer, both will mean the same thing. Here we'll choose option A, because now I'm telling you that I have everything, I have so many things, and I'm excluding one thing, that is layer. So this is how actually you can differentiate between nothing and but, and anything or everything it will be used with except. Next देखिएगा, no other will be followed by than, no other or none other. They'll also be followed by than. Why? Because आप than comparison कर रहे हो कि कोई और हो ही नहीं सकता, ठीक है, तो it cannot be used with except. फिर एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, it was none other except my childhood friend who ridiculed me, and the beta is, it was none other than my childhood friend who ridiculed me. Now you are excluding, but with no other or none other, just like nothing. That is why I have used both these combinations simultaneously, so that आपको समझ आ सके कि no other के बाद except क्यों नहीं लग सकता. Just like the nothing and but matter. Why can't we use except with nothing? Because except is already we are aware that it is used for exclusion. And here again we cannot use except. Why? Because except is used for exclusion. तो यहाँ पर तो already we have no one. So how can we exclude? Now we move on to our next combination, that is regarding both. Both का combination बनेगा and if needed. Otherwise, both itself is enough. No need to use any conjunction because both is already joining the two things. For example, अगर मैं कहूँ both my brothers are intelligent. So here you can see that there is no need at all of and. But in case you need any conjunction, it must be and. I am emphasizing, do not use as well as. This is the most common mistake you make while using both, because they both look almost the same thing but they are different. Both his brother as well as his sister is taking the exams, and beta both his brothers and his sister are taking exams. Now you can clearly tell that as well as is the error. And let me explain why we cannot use as well as, because it is used for basically a comparison. It is not a conjunction. It is basically used as a comparison. कि बिल्कुल उसी की तरह जैसे हम कहते हैं he as well as his brothers are, नहीं कहते, is कहते हैं, because brothers they are just used as an example. मैं लिख भी देता हूँ बल्कि he as well as his brothers is brave. So Why don't we use are? Because as well as his brothers, they are not the part of subject. Our subject is he. They are just used for exemplifying कि वो भी अपने भाइयों ही की तरह ज़हीन है. But we are only talking about him. We are not talking about his brothers. तो ये तो एग्जाम्पलीफाई करने के लिए है, ज्वाइन करने के लिए तो है ही नहीं. सो अगर यहाँ हम कहते हैं ना बोथ, तो both is actually used for joining two things. And if we say as well as, it means कि वो उसका भाई जो है वो भी है उसकी बहन की तरह पेपर दे रहा है. हम ये नहीं कहना चाह रहे. We want to communicate that his brother and his sister both are giving papers. ठीक है, हम ये कहना चाह रहे. So if we use as well as, it basically kills the whole meaning of the sentence. That is why both will always be followed by and not as well as. Another important rule, if both is used for a plural noun, it will take the. फिर इसके साथ हम डेफिनेट आर्टिकल लगाएंगे. एग्जाम्पल मैं यहाँ दे देता हूँ. ऑप्शन अल्फा इज both girls are competing for this final slot. Now both, it is used for a plural noun. Here it is not combining anything. ठीक है, ये किसी plural noun के लिए यूज हो रहा है. तो फिर हम क्या करेंगे, both the girls are competing for this final slot. And the right option for us will be option B. Why? Because girls, it's a plural noun, and if both is used for it, it will always take the definite article the. So hopefully it is clear. Now we are moving to some more combinations of conjunctions. So now students, let's move on to some more pairs. That is very common, lest, and it must be followed by should. Do not use should not. Lest के बाद आपने कभी भी should not use नहीं करना. You will always go for should. Why? Because lest, it already carries a negation. इसके अंदर इनबिल्ट negation मौजूद है. ऐसा ना हो के. So when you are already negating something, do not add any other negation in that particular sentence. For example, walk with care . lest you should fall, and beta, walk with care lest you should not fall. No need to add comma. Now why I should not use should not? Because lest automatically means कि ऐसा ना हो, तो उसके बाद आप obviously यही करेंगे, ऐसा ना हो you should fall, तुम गिर जाओ, ठीक है, ये तो नहीं करेंगे ऐसा ना हो कि तुम ना गिरो, ठीक है। तो should not का मतलब तो बिल्कुल ही क्या हो जाएगा, it will become a very interesting sort of a thing, lest you should not fall, अपनी inverted commas में कह रहा हूँ, फुफ्फो को कह सकते हैं आपके, okay, walk with care lest you should not fall. Otherwise there is no need to add should not, should is enough. Then moving on, not to speak of or what to speak of. Both of them will be followed by even. Now what do we mean by not to speak of or what to speak of? इसका मतलब होता है कि इस बात का तो जिक्र ही क्या, इस बात का तो जिक्र ही ना करें, ठीक है। तो इसके साथ क्या लगेगा, we will always use even. For example, what to speak of luxuries even the comforts are hard to come by. कि आसाइशों को तो तस्करा ही छोड़ दें, इवन जो कंफर्ट्स हैं वो भी अवेलेबल नहीं है. एंड द सेकेंड ऑप्शन, what to speak of luxuries then the comforts are hard to come by. We know that after what to speak of or not to speak of, we cannot use than. So the right option for us in this MCQ will be option alpha. Now let's take another combination, and that is very familiar. We have already discussed it in our verb. If you have missed that lecture, you can go back and have a detailed view of it. That is as if, as though, would that, and wish. All these verbs are followed by past tense plus plural form. we cannot use even the singular form of a past tense after these verbs. Why? Because all these verbs, and sometimes we can even add if to it, all these verbs actually represent past subjunctive. This is a topic of verb, and I have already explained it in detail while I was explaining verb. You can go back and have a look at these lectures. You will understand what is actually past subjunctive. But here what is important for you that you must know कि इन चारों के बाद क्या लगेगा. इन चारों के बाद past tense और उसकी plural form लगेगी. For example, he dictates me as if he is my boss, and beta, he dictates me as if he were my boss. Now normally what do? You use was with he, and primarily because it is dictates, I am writing another option for you. He dictates me as if he is my boss, and finally he dictates me as if he was my boss. इसको R है ये एक्चुअली, सॉरी, ठीक करते हैं. Now let's check. Majority of the people will go for option alpha because they'll feel dictates is in present, so we should always go for the present tense in the next clause. But it is not the case because I have told you they are called past subjunctive. They represent unreal situations, और unreal situations में हम क्या करते हैं, past tense use करते हैं, present tense use नहीं करते, and that too not with the singular form but with the plural form. So this cannot be true. He dictates me as if he were my boss. Yes, that is the right option. And here are, obviously we cannot use are with he, and here we cannot use was because we need to use the plural form, not the singular form. एक और चीज रिपीट कर रहा हूं, ऑलरेडी वर्ब में बहुत डिटेल से इसको डिस्कस किया. Past subjunctive by no means it communicates or it tells you to use were at any cost. No, we can use were, we can use second form, we can use had, we can use had been, we can adopt any of the four tenses of past, but the only condition is that we should use the plural form. Means we cannot use was, we must use were or had, had been और second form. So ये इसका टोटल करेक्ट है. अब हम चलते हैं कुछ और कॉम्बिनेशंस की तरफ. Now carry this example a bit further. Sometime if is used to depict some unreal or impossible situation, it will also be treated as past subjunctive. Sometime if shows such a condition that is impossible to have. For example, if a giant was to pick England and throw it in the middle of Sahara Desert, we should have quite the task to find it. And on the other hand, I'm writing if a giant were to pick England and threw it in the middle of the Sahara Desert, we should have quite a task to find it. Now normally we use was with giant because it is a singular noun, and singular noun always takes was and not were. But here if it is presenting something unreal or impossible, because it is not possible for anyone to pick England up and throw it in the middle of the Sahara Desert. That is an impossible task. That is why here we are treating it as past subjunctive, and treating something as past subjunctive means we'll use past tense plus plural form. That is why we are not using was, we are going for were, and in this MCQ our right option will be option beta. Now let's have some more examples of another combination, and that is very interesting. You often make mistakes, and why? Because you are so used to it, you are so used to committing that mistake. That is why you keep on repeating it. But let's be clear. Although no conjunction is needed, do not use any conjunction of after although. लेकिन हमारी तसल्ली नहीं होती, हम क्या कहते हैं, हम ऑल्दो के बाद यूज करते हैं कोई ना कोई कंजंक्शन. इवन देन, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, if I write down a sentence, although he is old, even then he is energetic. Now, this sentence apparently seems perfect to you. You feel it's quite okay. On the other hand, if I write down, although he is old, he is energetic. Now, this sentence will seem incomplete to you, but this is the right sentence because although के बाद हमें और कोई चीज़ यूज़ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है because it already presents a condition. So दोबारा कंडीशन लगाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. In case बहुत ही कोई आपको मजबूरी है, को बहुत emphasize करना चाह रहे हैं, तो you may use yet in a sense of even then. बहुत ही कोई आपको लग रहा है ना कि तसल्ली नहीं हो रही है आपकी, तो you may use yet, but that is used in the sense of even then. For example, if I say, although he is not fully fit, yet he will play the match. कि although वो भी fully fit नहीं है, even then he will play the match. इसके बावजूद वो क्या करेगा? मैच खेलेगा. Now same is the case with another combination. If do not use then after using if. I know आपके साइंसेस में if and then लॉजिक अप्लाई होती है, अलबन मैथमेटिक्स में भी आप उसको अप्लाई करते हो. Even we do apply it in logical reasoning, but if or then, it is completely incorrect. If already presents a condition, no need to add then. एक जोक सुना देता हूँ, वो से याद रहेगा आपको. एक देहाती लड़की चली गई शहर, तो शहर जाके उस्ताद ने उससे पूछा कि ऐसा करो कि अगर मगर को जुमले में इस्तेमाल करो. वो कुछ देर सोचती रही और उसके बाद बोली कि अगर मैं यहाँ से चली जाऊँ तो कोई मेरे मगर ना आए. ठीक है, तो अगर के बाद मगर की ज़रूरत नहीं है. वैसे भी बता रहा हूँ, अगर कोई चला जाए मगर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. अब फ़ौरन दिल पे नहीं ले जानी बात, रूल तक फोकस रहना. फ़ौरन आपको यादों में नहीं खो जाना कि ओहो सर क्या याद दिला दिया आपने. नो नीड टू डू इट. बी वेरी फोकस्ड ऑन योर स्टडीज़. If he requests me, now no need to use then I will help him. Simple, I shall help him. That comma is enough. No need to add then. साइंसेस में खुले दिल से इस्तेमाल करें, नो इशू. बट इंग्लिश में प्लीज़ डू नॉट डू दैट, बिकॉज इफ इज सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी, आप कह रहे हो ना कि भाई अगर उसने ये किया, तो मगर कहने के फिर दोबारा तुक ही नहीं बनती ना. सो दैट इज वाई इफ डू नॉट नीड any conjunction with it. So let's move to the next screen और देखते हैं कि आगे हमारे पास क्या कुछ है. Let's students, now we are going to discuss another important combination, and that is the usage of who, which, and obviously that, and finally we'll discuss whose and whom. So at the first place, who is used for living beings and which is used for non-living beings, while that it can be used for both living and non-living beings. Now the question arises when to use who or when to use that, and in the same way when to use which and when to use that, because it is basically competing with both of them, क्योंकि living को भी represent कर रहा है और non-living को भी represent कर रहा है. Who and which, they are used for non-restrictive clauses, while that is used for restrictive clauses. Now what is restrictive clauses and non-restrictive clauses? Non-restrictive clauses are the additional informations which we may have and which we can omit easily without disturbing the meaning of the sentence. For example, one of my students who comes of a noble family is going to the UK for higher studies. Now you can see that even if I delete that part, who comes of a noble family, it does not affect the main meaning or the main sense of the sentence. That is why here we will use who, and if it is something non-living, we can use which. I have already discussed that concept in the lessons of pronoun. So you can go back if you want a detailed explanation. For example, the house The house which I loved the most was destroyed in the earthquake of 2005. Here, even if I remove that clause, it does not affect the main meaning. The house was destroyed in the earthquake of 2005. So here I can use which. Now what is restrictive clause? Restrictive clause is something that is the compulsory part of a sentence. If we remove that, the whole meaning changes. I want to reserve the same room that I reserved last year. Here, if I exclude or if I omit that clause, the sentence goes incomplete. It does not convey the complete sense. I want to reserve the same room. मैं बिल्कुल वही कमरा बुक करवाना चाहता हूँ. कौन से वाला? You'll have to describe what type of room, what room actually you are talking about. So this is how we use that. That if the sentence, if the clause, is a non-restrictive element or non-restrictive clause, we'll go for that. No matter it is a living thing or non-living thing. And if it is a non-restrictive part, we will use who for living beings and which for non-living beings. Whose, you are very familiar. It is used to show possession. For example, if I say he is the boy whose pen was stolen. ये वो लड़का है जिसका पेन चुरा लिया गया था. Now whose is actually showing the possession of that pen. And as far as home is concerned, it is used when the antecedent is the receiver of an action. अगर door of an action होगा तो we'll go for who, और अगर receiver of an action होगा तो we'll go for whom. For example, he is the boy whom I chose for the speech. Now the boy is not doing anything, he is being chosen by someone. So we are using whom. And if it is the door of an action, he is the boy who delivered an impressive speech. Now the boy is delivering that speech. He is the doer of an action. That is why we are using who. So I do hope that all of these combinations will be absolutely clear in your mind. ले मेरे बेटे, that was it for today. I do hope that you would have understood the topic completely. But in case you have any query, any question, use this comment box and ask whatever you want to ask. I'll be waiting for your questions. मिलते हैं अगले लेक्चर में, तब तक अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। जीते रहें, खुश रहें। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।